Kalimera! Welcome, you're here with Mel at Taste of Travel, and today we're going to be filming one of the oldest desserts in the world, Loukoumades. So these are hot sticky donut balls and they are just full of the Middle Eastern flavour, lots of cinnamon, lots of honey flavours, and they are just so perfect. I love them. I remember them from childhood when my late Yaya used to make them for us when we came home from school. We served them at banayuris, at festivals, and they're just a really nice sort of street food, a snack that you can have, or a decadent dessert depending on how you want to dress them up. They actually used to serve them at the Olympics about 700 years before Christ, so we're really going back into ancient times with this dessert. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is we've got 9 grams of yeast here, activated yeast, and 280 millilitres of water at room temperature. So we're just going to pop that in there. Give that a little bit of a whisk, just stir that in, and we're going to leave that for 5 minutes. Cool. While that's happening, we are going to sieve our flour. So here we have 200 grams of plain white flour, in it goes, and 50 grams of corn flour. So we're just going to sieve that so it's nice and airy, keeps the donuts nice and airy. Awesome. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of cinnamon to that as well. Smells good. Pinch of salt. And just into this mixture of the water and the yeast, a tablespoon of honey. Now this honey is from Australia. It's a Jarrah honey, and it should add a really unique flavour into our Cypriot dish. Wow. You can smell the honey already. It's really, really beautiful. Okay, great. And all we're going to do now is we're going to whisk our yeast and our honey into our flour mixture. So once your yeast mixture has mixed with the water for about 5 minutes, we're just going to add that into our flour mixture. So little bit by little bit. And the technique that we're going to use is the same as I showed last time. So just an 8 and then a 0. But make sure you get all the lovely honey out as well as the yeast. Definitely don't want to waste any of that Jarrah honey. It's so beautiful. Fabulous. And then we're just going to whisk up our mixture into a dough. So remember the technique, an 8 and then a 0, an 8 and then a 0. Cool, so now that that's mixed, we're just going to cover it in cling film and place in a preheated oven of 50 degrees to rise for up to an hour. Or if you have a radiator, you can pop it on there. Just leave it to rise in a warm area. So now we're going to prepare our syrup for our Loukoumades. So something that is so famous to Greek cuisine is our orange syrup. We cover all of our cakes in a, every single beautiful pastry, baklava. This is that traditional syrup that we make, that we drizzle things in. And Loukoumades are literally drenched in this. So the first one we're going to make is our orange cinnamon syrup. So let's go ahead and get our stove started. I'm going to put it on a high heat to begin with. So it's pretty basic principles for sugar syrup. I'm doing equal quantities of sugar to water. So here we've got a 1/4 cup of sugar straight in and a 1/4 cup of the water. We're now going to add in the the juice of a squeezed orange, the orange peel, so we've just peeled that orange as well. And have a look, we've been really careful not to get loads of the pith on there. We've just got the orange so it stays nice and sweet. It's going to be mind-blowingly sweet. We love it sweet. We love it sweet. And of course, what no Greek dish can do without, cinnamon. You know, whether it's savory, whether it's sweet, cinnamon goes into like every dish that we have. So that goes into the pot as well. I'm just going to give it a bit of a whisk, and we're going to bring it up to the boil. Okay, so once it's on the boil, it's going to take 5 minutes. So you want to make sure you keep an eye on your pan. Might just want to turn it down just a little so it doesn't boil over. And it's going on for 5 minutes. Okay, so once 5 minutes is up, you're going to take it off the heat. Look at that. Just look now that the bubbles have gone away. You can see that syrup. See, it's really syrupy in there. Beautiful. We're just going to add a few tablespoons of lemon juice. So I would do 3. I would do 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. And this just stops it from getting too sweet. And just to end, we're just going to sieve our mixture, our new syrup mixture. We're just going to sieve all the orange peel and the cinnamon out of it to make it really translucent and lovely into a jug. So there we have our beautiful orange cinnamon syrup. So we're having 2 different syrups for our loukoumades. The second syrup we're going to do is going to be a rosewater syrup. Now, rose is just the taste of the Middle East, and if anybody asks me as a Cypriot person, lived out there for 9 years, was born into a Cypriot family, rose, it's the taste of the Middle East, and Cypriot cuisine is like Middle Eastern cuisine. There's so many different items we have in our menu, in our cuisine, that people in the Middle East argue is part of their cuisine. And now we've been invaded so many times, they may have brought these tastes over thousands of years ago. But for now, we're going to call it Cypriot, and we're going to make our rosewater syrup. So again, let's get the hob on, start it on a nice high heat, sugar in, perfect, water in. Now this one is slightly different to our orange syrup because we're going to add in our rose water and our lime juice once it's boiled. So we're going to make the syrup first and then add that in. So our sugar syrup mixture has just been boiling for 5 minutes. We're going to turn it down now, and we're going to add our delicate rose water. Now this is a gorgeous rose water I bought back from Cyprus. You just find it in the supermarkets there. You know, they charge you a bomb here in the UK to buy rose water, but there you can buy something like this for a couple of euros. And it's beautiful. Now you do have to be so careful with rose water because you don't want your syrup to taste like soap. It's really, really strong, but what we want is a delicate hint of rose. It's a beautiful flower. We don't want, you know, we don't want body lotion in our mouths. We want just a beautiful, decadent taste of rose water. So we're going to start off with just half a tablespoon, and then we're going to taste. So we're going to taste as we go along with the rose water. So in it goes. A little stir into our sugar syrup, and then a little taste. I can smell it already, so that could mean that there's enough in there. Just from the smell, it smells like you've just stuck your nose right into the center of a rose. I can tell that it's pretty much ready. So you've got to rely on your senses when you cook. Rely on your nose, use your hands, use your touch, use your eyes. Listen to your saucepan. So let's have a taste. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. And just to end, we're going to add in our squeezed lime. So we're just going to add that in. Give it another little whisk. Another little taste. See, now that we've added in the lime, a touch more of the rose water would go down well. So just a touch, not too much. Few drops. Give it another stir. Good. Let's pour that into our jug. Now, no need to sift this one as we haven't put anything with powder, we haven't put any orange slices. If you want though, as an addition at home, you can add in some fresh rose petals or some dried rose petals and then use your sieve. We're just going to leave that to cool. So we're ready to start preparing our loukoumades. So we're heating up some oil, needs to get nice and hot, so we've got that. And we're going to go ahead, we've got one glass of water with a teaspoon here, and we're going to take a teaspoon of the dough, small teaspoon, and what we do is we just drop that into the oil, so it's just dropped into the oil. Oh, perfect. Great, so we don't want to overcrowd the pan. Oh, great. You want to have a look at this. It's really fabulous. See how they're starting to go. They're starting to crisp up. Perfect. Oh, yeah. Once they're sort of yellow and crisp, we just let them just drain out on a bit of paper. Okay, so we are about to place up our 2 plates of loukoumades. Street food, it doesn't need to be, the presentation doesn't need to be crazy, but it does need to taste mind-blowing. So we're going to drench our first bowl, our Mediterranean bowl, in our orange syrup. Our second bowl, let's drench them in the rosewater syrup. For our traditional Cypriot ones, let's go ahead and add on a little bit of orange zest. A little bit of orange zest there. Beautiful. Some walnuts, some chopped walnuts. And I have a surprise for you. Something a little crazy that I've seen done. It's something new. It's not traditional, but it does taste amazing. My decadent chocolate sauce. So we will be covering the recipe for that shortly. But for now, let's squeeze some of that onto our loukoumades. Oh my God. That's our traditional with a twist. Honey orange loukoumades with chocolate syrup. Then just to finish, our Middle Eastern loukoumades, we're going to top with powdered pistachio. And of course, no Middle Eastern recipe is complete without a few rose petals. Okay, so are we ready to try loukoumades? So now we say galiorexi. I'm going to try the rose petal loukoumades first because that's a more delicate taste. So let's have a go. Wow, so crispy. You can hear that crunch. Let's bite into them. Mmm. Mmm. The syrup is really good. I love that taste of rose. They're so crispy, so crunchy, and they're not too sweet. It's something really different and unique and quite Middle Eastern. Now let's try the more traditional, with a twist, Cypriot loukoumades to the Middle Eastern ones. So these are a little softer. You know, it does make a difference the longer they've been covered in the syrup, because they get softer, less of a crunch. So let's have a try. Wow. Wow. So these ones are completely different taste. It's almost like a completely different dish, but that combination of the orange with the dark chocolate, the crunch, the syrup, it's just perfection. So guys, it's Mel here with Taste of Travel, bringing you Cypriot cuisine, loukoumades, and we look forward to you creating your own street food loukoumades at home.